Morning, guys. I think the last time I made a mistake of thinking that we are done with the uptake and processing of nitrogen. The slide that you see here is not anything new. We've already covered that. Let me just go through this slide. You can see, even though it is not indicated here, a plant that would have absorbed nitrate from the soil will have to reduce it to nitrite, and the enzyme that will reduce that nitrate to nitrite is nitrate reductase enzyme. Then the nitrite will be reduced to ammonium by nitrite reductase enzyme. The next step is going to be the assimilation of this ammonium. We've already covered that. So the ammonium combines with a glutamic acid, an existing amino acid within the plant. And when the two combines, they will form a product which is not an amino acid, but it is an amide because it has got two NH2 groups. This glutamic acid has got an NH2 group already, but when it interacts with ammonium, this will allow an NH2 coming from this ammonium to be incorporated into this amino acid that already contains an NH2, making it to have two NH2 groups, and it can no longer be an amino acid, but an amide called glutamine. The enzyme that catalyzes that reaction, it's glutamine synthase enzyme, abbreviated as GS. The next step is this amide now that you see, glutamine, interacting with an organic acid. You've got an amide interacting with an organic acid. Like I said before, most organic acids have got structures that can easily make them to be converted into amino acids if only they can just get an amino group. So this organic acid called oxoglutarate will interact with an amide called glutamine. An amide has got two NH2 groups. The organic acid lacks an NH2 group to become an amino acid. So when the two interact, when this oxoglutarate interact with that glutamine, the glutamine will donate its extra NH2 group to the organic acid. The organic acid will then become an amino acid called glutamate. And the glutamine will go back to what it was. Remember, it was a glutamate before it got an additional NH2 group. Now that additional NH2 group is removed from this glutamine and donated to an organic acid. This will result in two amino acids being formed, two glutamic acids. The enzyme that catalyzes this reaction, it's called GOGT in abbreviation. But if you go back the previous slides, you will get the full name of this enzyme, because this thing where I'm just wrapping up something that I've already talked about in the previous slide. So this will result into two glutamic acids being formed. What is the next step? One of these glutamic acids will go back and interact with another incoming ammonium, and that top cycle will repeat itself. What happens to the other glutamic acid of these two? This other glutamic acid is going to donate its amino group through a process called Aminotransferase. Aminotransferase. So you get this glutamic acid interacting here as an example, interacting with an organic acid called oxaloacetate. This amino acid will transfer its amino group to the organic acid oxaloacetate. That will result in this oxaloacetate, which is an organic acid, becoming an amino acid called aspartate. The glutamic acid, having lost an amino group, will go back to being an organic acid called oxoglutarate. That is what it was. This is called transamination reaction. And then from there, more nitrate can be taken up, and its nitrogen can be incorporated into glutamic acid, which will donate it to another organic acid, forming a new type of an amino acid. The process keeps on repeating, and the plant will end up forming so many different types of amino acids with the use of the nitrogen that it has absorbed from the soil. And these different amino acids, a plant can then be able to link together to form proteins. Some of this nitrogen can be transferred from this glutamic acid and be incorporated into nucleic acids and other types of nitrogen containing nitrogenous compounds. So you can see clearly what the nitrogen that has been absorbed by the plant is used for. So it can be nitrogen absorbed from the plant in the form of nitrate, or it could be nitrogen absorbed from the soil in the form of ammonium. Alternatively, it could be the nitrogen that the plant, if it is a nitrogen fixing plant, it could be the nitrogen that the plant fixed from the atmosphere through the nitrogen fixation process that we have dealt before, whose end product is the formation of ammonium. That ammonium is assimilated through the same pathway, the same way. I hope this is crystal clear. So I'm going to record another clip in few minutes that deals with other aspects of. Actually, I'm not going to record another clip. Please just give yourself time to read the advantages of nitrate as a nitrogen source. You can see this slide. I think it's very straightforward. This is very important. Advantages of nitrate as a nitrogen source. Disadvantages of nitrate as a nitrogen source. Advantages of ammonium as a nitrogen source. Disadvantages of ammonium as a nitrogen source. The issue here is the two forms of nitrogen, nitrate versus ammonium. There are some plants that are adapted to ammonium, others that are adapted to nitrate. So the form of the nitrogen has got some advantages, but equally so, it also has got some disadvantages with regard to issues like the energy that it is used to process this nitrogen, the kind of pressures that the plant is exerted to if it has to assimilate either nitrate or ammonium, disadvantages that comes as a result of the organ within which the plant has to process this nitrogen, all that aspects, issues of toxicity, nitrate being less toxic when it accumulates in plants as compared to ammonium. So nitrate has its own advantages and disadvantages, and ammonium has got its own advantages and disadvantages as a form of nitrogen in the life of a plant. So please just go through this The last slide, I think we can skip this, and that is basically the end of issues with regard to the uptake and assimilation of ammonium. Thank you.